Hello and welcome to RSG Podcast episode 91. And tonight we are going to discuss the new Star Wars film, Rogue One. Mainly our love for the whole movie. We enjoy talking about it. We loved seeing it. We were anticipating seeing this for a long time. We had many questions about who's what and where and what's it going to show for the new movies coming up in the series, but sit back, enjoy. Now, we do get a little theory crafting in here a little bit about how we would change the intro, because we're egotistical elitists like that, but it's all in good fun. We love the movie for what it was. We hope you got a chance to see it. We held off, out of respect for you guys, for at least a week to submit this podcast because we spoil everything. So if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. Then as soon as you're done checking it out, go ahead and turn us on and listen to us. Check us out at rsgpodcast.com and all your major podcast, I guess everything, Stitcher, podcast places that you go to get your podcasts. All right, well, sit back and enjoy. Thanks. Okay, let's do it. RSG Podcast. So, here we are. Rogue One is probably primarily what we're going to talk about tonight.
Dump Star Wars. Hashtag Dump Star Wars.
Hashtag Dump Star Wars.
Men's rights.
Men's rights.
Men's rights.
We have some of those, I think. No. Okay, so I just want to start off real quick with this whole Dump Star Wars crap before we get into the movie and how ridiculous this whole thing is. So, Dump Star Wars is a hashtag. I don't know where it started exactly, but it is a popular thing amongst the MRAs because it is, hashtag Dump Star Wars because it's a feminist propaganda movie.
Yeah.
Because the lead is a female, and how dare they?
Seriously, though.
How dare they?
How dare they?
How
indeed.
dare they? I mean,
Indeed.
never mind the fact that the movie never goes out of its way to point out that she's female or that matters at all. She just is female. But yeah, it's ridiculous. And the worst part isn't that it exists. The worst part is they recently tweeted that their Dump Star Wars movement was effective because Rogue One made a mere $290 million on its opening weekend.
A mere $290 million.
A mere... The only...
That barely qualifies as making any money at all.
Yeah, it's
Honestly,
almost like they're not making any money at all.
Yeah.
On their very first weekend. And the funny part is that the only movies to have done better at the same time, the same release date, like right around Christmas, was Avatar. I think the other one was a Harry Potter movie, maybe. And then, lastly, the other Star Wars movie.
Right, The Force Awakens.
That had a female lead, I might add.
Right. Well, it's part of the reason. And there's, it goes even beyond that. Because there are other people on the internet who believe that, it's a whole SJW thing. The SJW has taken over Star Wars. That's all become social justice warriors because the cast of Rogue One is all, about this female, led by a female, and has a diverse cast of non-white people.
Right.
Fighting against the all-white male evil empire.
Ah, well, that makes sense.
So it's all about social justice and about how, minorities are so great and white men are all evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. Super evil.
Yeah.
Super evil.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. It's amazing what they do.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and it's just, they're ignoring a lot of stuff. They're ignoring the fact that, the idea that the Empire was led by a bunch of old white dudes has been prevalent forever. This isn't something that's new. The SJWs came over and took over.
Yeah.
This is just staying, true to the lore.
Yeah.
You know? So that's just how it is. Like, sorry that it's inconvenient that that's the truth for everybody.
Oh, I see what you did there. The inconvenient truth.
Did you just make a sweet Al Gore reference?
I didn't, but you guys decided to turn it into one, so your fault, not mine.
So
your fault, not mine.
I'll take it.
Anyhow, yeah.
Yeah, we went to watch Rogue One.
We did.
At a very early hour of the morning.
Yeah, it was like, 1:20 a.m.?
1:20 a.m.
That's when the movie started. We didn't get out there till like past 4. It was
Yeah.
late.
Yeah.
I didn't get to bed till 5. I had to be up at 8. So, that was a fun Friday.
Yeah, I didn't get to bed till 4:30ish, 4:45ish, and I didn't have to go to work at all.
Oh, yeah, you went to work too.
Oh, yeah, I went to work.
Oh, were you struggling?
No, it wasn't bad, actually.
Oh, man, I was struggling.
Yeah, I actually didn't have too much trouble at all.
I don't know what it is about me and that. Oh, no. Like, I used to be able to stay up, get like 2 hours of sleep, be fine for like 4 more days.
Yeah.
No, I guess I'm just getting old finally.
Yep,
Yeah.
you're an old fucker.
It happens to everybody.
Blah.
But so let's get into the movie. Let's just go with opinions first, whether or not you liked it or not.
Okay, I really liked Rogue One. I would say probably maybe my 3rd, maybe 4th favorite Star Wars movie.
Ooh.
3rd or 4th?
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's like a lot, but there's not that many to make it like 3rd or 4th is like
8 total, right?
Yeah, like 3rd or 4th is like solidly middle of the pack. It's not good. It's mediocre.
Well,
Mediocre.
but yes, but you're like, okay, prequels are automatically on the bottom.
Right. Right. So if this is right above the prequels, not that great. Is all I'm saying.
Oh, man.
It's a very limited subset of movies. That's all I'm saying.
Like, if the bar is just be better than the prequels.
I don't know that it's better than Empire.
I would agree. I don't think it's better than Empire.
You know.
I don't think it was supposed to be better than Empire, though. Like, I think it was just supposed to be a really good Star Wars film that just kind of set the pace for the movies, because it just right into the New Hope.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, okay, not better than Empire. That's fine. What else is above?
I think maybe I enjoyed The Force Awakens more too.
Okay.
As an overall movie.
All right.
So I would put it 3rd.
Okay.
You know, but I would put it like basically even with Return of the Jedi for me.
Okay.
So it's like 3rd, 4th in that range.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, so I mean, it's not like yes, granted that puts it like just above A New Hope and the prequels, but it's a limited subset. What do you want from me? I think Empire is still better for sure. I think Empire is still the number 1, and then we can argue about 2, 3, and 4 because it's going to be a pretty close race.
Ryan?
My favorite was the Phantom Menace.
Bro, if you wanted to troll, you should go Clone Wars.
Oh, sorry.
That's
Attack of the Clones.
Yeah,
Because it wasn't even called Clone Wars.
Yeah,
it was called Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
Because Lucas is
That
not
was
going
the
to
worst
fuss.
one.
Yeah, no,
He's a putz.
no. See, Empire Strikes Back.
Well, did you like Rogue One?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Ryan
I really
likes
okay.
Rogue One too.
I thought we were going for like our favorite one, but yeah, like it's easily in my top 2. Like, I just liked the story. How there was. I got the real feeling that there's just so much more at stake with this particular story. So.
Right.
And it was the most war I've seen in Star Wars, which I think was crazy. I mean, you had one of the new ones that Lucas did had a huge space battle scene in the beginning of it, and then that lasted for like 10 minutes or whatever, where you watched R2-D2 and Jar Jar do their thing. But it just seemed like it had the most like actual
go on
war.
record saying I don't believe Jar Jar was ever in any space battle.
No?
Not a space battle.
Look, that just shows you how much I remember about it. But, well, I liked it because you had basically you had a ground assault, you had a space battle, all of it going on at the same time. You could seamlessly hop between the two.
Yeah, but that's the Star Wars. That's the Star Wars key, right?
Yeah.
The 3rd act is always 3 things. You have a personal battle going on.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, we have Jyn Erso and Cassian Andor against Krennic, Dr. Krennic in the tower, right? You know, so you have that personal battle going on, that like individual struggle. And then you have like the ground struggle going on, and then the space battle going on, all at the same time. And you just like flip through there. Next. Don't get me wrong, it works.
Yeah.
I fucking love it. But that's the formula.
Yeah. Another thing that I really loved about this movie is that it brought just how badass Darth Vader is. Like, it brought it back. Because the last thing you saw from Darth Vader was, no, he's crying about being burned alive. And then that's it. Then he was in... But now it's like, this takes it back, though. This takes it back. I mean, you have him enter in, pitch black, lightsaber. I mean, he does what... Now you know why everyone's afraid of Darth Vader.
Yeah. See, that's I think that was actually key, because if you think about it, you go through the original trilogy, right? And Darth Vader's a badass, but you don't get a whole lot of that.
Yeah.
No.
You see him like force choking bitches out. You're like, well, this is a badass motherfucker, but you don't really see him display that in a big way. That's impressive because, well, it was the 70s.
Right.
But the choreographing wasn't there.
Super heavy.
Yeah, it was
so
just
he just walks around all clunky like and shit.
right.
Yeah.
So really wasn't there. And then you had the prequels where Darth Vader was a whiny bitch the entire time.
Yeah.
And then not only was he a whiny bitch, he got his ass kicked all the time.
Yeah.
And those three, like he's
supposed
always
to be the
oh,
chosen
shit,
one.
lost my lightsaber. Oh, got my hand cut off. Oh, Count Dooku beat my ass. Oh, like all the time happening. Oh, I don't like sand. All the time. Got his ass kicked by sand.
He does. He hates sand. It's coarse.
It's coarse. Gets everywhere.
It gets everywhere.
But yeah, so like you don't get that feeling of him being a real badass until you get to some of the animated series, like this particular movie, and even then, it's not enough. I wanted more of it.
Well,
but,
I think it was the appropriate amount, though. Like,
really?
I'm with you. I wanted more, but at the same time, like, if you would have unleashed Vader earlier in the movie, then it would have taken away from that last thing, because you'd have been like, here he goes again. He's gonna tear shit up. You knew it was gonna you knew what was gonna happen when you saw like. From the minute, like, you knew it was Vader when the minute those Star Destroyers showed up and just, like, blocked everything from going into hyperspace. Like, things just broke apart. You're like, oh, that's Vader. It's over now. These guys are done. And then when he busts in the door, like, I don't know. If they would have given you more Vader ahead of time, I don't know if... Like, I would have still been impressed by the end, but it wouldn't have been that hit. It wouldn't have been...
He would have stolen the show.
Right.
If there was more Vader, he would have stolen the show.
Yeah,
right.
You're probably right. Well, and the interesting thing about that particular scene you're talking about, where Vader shows up, that's a fucking horror scene.
Yeah.
That is a horror scene, and it was done so well.
Yes.
It was done so well. Those guys just...
You could hear them shit their pants.
Oh, man,
That was it.
It was done so well. But, okay, on to my opinion, I guess, then. Obviously, really like the movie.
You're Asian. No one cares about your opinion.
Wait, say it again, Robbie?
I said you're Asian. No one cares about your opinion.
You care about my opinion? Okay, I'll tell you about it. The thing here is that, like, I really like the movie, but it was extremely different in many, many, many ways.
I agree with that.
The pacing was my only complaint. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't as tight as feeling as I feel like it could have been in some places. There was just some awkward, like, I guess, my biggest, like, for instance, they meet Chirrut and Baze Malbus down on Jeddah, in Jeddah City or whatever. And then there's a big attack happens, whatever, the rebels, chaos. And then they all run onto the same ship together. And, like, these rebels don't have any idea who Chirrut and Baze Malbus is.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're like, let's share our secrets with them.
Yeah.
It was a little weird. Not terrible.
Share. What did they...
They're talking about, like, their big plans.
Oh, okay.
To,
No,
like,
that's true.
there's a lot of, like,
yeah.
their secret, like, task force to go to Scarif and stuff. It was a little strange, but still not bad. That was, like, my only complaint. Other than that, I loved every scene of it. This was a war movie. This wasn't... I mean, it was more of a war movie than it was a Star Wars movie.
Well, by the time they shared their plans to go to, like, Scarif or to go to... They didn't go to Scarif first. Where did they go first? That other planet.
Starts with an E. The, like, engineer planet or whatever, where, like...
Yeah, Eno or something like
Yeah.
that. Enu.
Yeah, Enu, something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, they're going to go there to save her dad.
Yeah.
And
Or the
stop
perceived
Death Star.
save her dad in air quotations.
Yeah. And but at that point, they'd already been through the shit together to an extent, right? Because they'd both been in that attack, and and Donnie Yen had come out and saved them from stormtroopers.
He did. He came out and saved them, but that doesn't. It's. I'm just saying they kind of trump up the fact that this is like super secret shit that's going on, especially in the beginning with Cassian Andor. Like they kind of trump that up, and then like this guy's whether or not they saved him or not, you say thanks, and then you drop him off somewhere. You don't immediately bring them in on your plans. There was very little like transition, but it had to be cut for other things.
I suppose, right?
But it's. I mean, I'm not. It's not like I'm like, oh, this ruined the movie. It didn't even really like register to me until like way later that happened.
Well, plus him being force sensitive too. Like he kind of figured it out before they could really even say anything of what's going on. Like he knew there was something going on. This dark brooding thing. They're going to go this one area. So.
Well, I mean, the fact is they were the guardian of the Temple of Will. So. Yeah. Because of that, like, and the fact that like, the Empire literally just blew up. Jeddah, that like, it makes sense that he would like throw his lot in as a rebel. So that makes complete sense in that sense. There just wasn't transitional scenes that like really laid that out, and that's fine. It's not that big a deal. Like it's a lot of stuff you can just play off in your head.
Yeah.
So
well, we've been in jail together too.
Yes.
Escaped together.
Yeah.
That sort of like agreed to be a team by default.
Plus, they had to move the
plot. Both in the same shitty situation.
They had to move things along a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
So.
Yeah, it didn't really bother me at the time.
No.
And I mean, I see what you're saying, where they're like, it does seem kind of weird that they would just, that spies would just all
by the way,
these other dudes, but
yeah,
it made sense at the time, you know, like they've been through some stuff together, so
yeah, it's fine. And like I said, like it's one of these things that could be fairly. Like, they could have put some weird transitional scene in there where, like, they talk about it, but it also ultimately wasn't necessary.
Yeah, one would just slowed the movie down.
It would have.
Yeah, so...
But this was, like, it was a war movie. This was a... Like, and it pulled a lot of, like, there's a lot of lines you can draw between it and some of the older war movies, like The Dirty Dozen, and stuff like that. That's,
Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That... It did a lot of those same sort of like things. You had, you know, the battle at the end with the space battle and the battle on the ground, and like you're seeing these spoilers, these characters that, you know, you followed through all this like die like one by one. Yeah. You know, and they're getting their hero's death, so to speak. But you know,
speaking on that though, I mean that's kind of cool because the scene where they decide to finally like, you know what, we were told that we're just going to quit and give up, but we can't because a lot of those guys that died in the first beginning, I mean, they did some pretty horrendous shit for the name of the rebels, right? So, like, now they're being told that everything they did didn't matter because we're just going to surrender because they got the big bad Death Star. So they decided to go ahead and go. I think it was a good way for them to, like, redeem themselves from, like, a life of just garbage and not really garbage, but, like, doing just heinous acts for the rebels and for the Alliance.
Yeah, like, the movie starts off, for instance, with, I mean, after the initial introduction of Jyn Erso and Saw Gerrera and Galen Erso and all that, we go to a scene with Cassian Andor where he's talking to a rebel informant who's telling him about something that he heard about or whatever. And then stormtroopers end up finding them. You know, he blasts the stormtroopers. That calls more stormtroopers.
Right.
You know? And so, and this guy can't, like, climb to escape. And so...
Because he has a broken arm.
Yeah, because he has a broken arm. And Cassian just, like... whispers into his ear it's gonna be okay and then shoots him in the back.
Right.
He fucking murders this dude.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no gray like
murder.
It's not gray moral. This is just fucking murder.
Yeah.
He just murders this guy.
Yeah. And he murders that guy so that he can't tell the Empire what he's told him.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's for a cause, but it's still just murder.
Yeah, it's just
he
murder.
just straight murders that dude, you know? And at first you don't get that he feels bad about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, because he just moves along with his life.
He's a spy master. He's just got to pick up and go.
Yeah. But then I do love that scene though there where he comes out and he's like, "Look, man, I've had to do a lot of like bad shit.
Yeah.
That I'm not proud of, and if we're just gonna, and I can't just throw it all away. So you know, let's mount up and do this.
Because he can't, and that's actually one of my favorite lines. Because he's like basically saying, "I can't live with myself."
Yeah.
Like, this is a suicide mission. Fine, because I can't live with myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I can't live in my own head.
Yeah. I can't live with myself if everything I've done leads to nothing. If nothing changes, nothing gets better, then I can't live with myself. Yeah.
You know, so. It was a pretty great scene. Like, and you get a lot of like this just beautiful, like, there was a lot of gray moral stuff going on. You get the same like sort of shitty bureaucracy that like gets in the way of things sometimes, and you know, it was just really, I don't know, really well rounded. And some of the, again, I go back to the battles. The battles were just such a pleasure.
Like you start thinking, hey, these guys can do it, and then all of a sudden, walkers, like not the little AT, you know, the little ones, fucking
the
full on big, like
AT-ATs.
17 of these sons of bitches are walking through the ocean, like, hey, what's up? Heard y'all have a party, you know?
Yeah, and they're like, this is like overkill because they're like, oh, there's a single dude running away, giant ass fucking turbo lasers just killing him. Like it was just, you're like, oh man, they are not fucking around.
Yeah,
they're probably not fucking around.
And I really like the scene where he shoots that RPG at the one's head and like turns the head, and then it doesn't do anything, turns back, and then of course then that like, you know.
Yeah.
The space battle though, like that was awesome. Like they had got the jump start and everything, and they were tearing it up and doing all right at that. But they're trying to bust the shields, and then the bay doors opened up on that thing, and all that legion of TIE fighters came out. And you're just like, oh, that just this went south fast.
So many TIE fighters pouring out of there.
Yeah.
So many scenes, like just the absolutely cinematic view they showed of some of the scenes, like the X-wings going down through the shield door that's covering the planet, and that scene was cool. And then like it closes, and you get that one that like hits it and just like fucking skids along the shield.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
Skitters across. Yeah, it's so awesome.
It was It was super cool.
Yeah.
The Hammerhead Corvette move that he called in, where he like rammed they used what, ion charges?
Well, you got to see Y-wings like do their job.
Yeah,
they like went in and like ion bombed the shit out of that Star Destroyer, totally knocked it out.
Yeah,
you know.
And then the Hammerhead ship, like that was just awesome.
Yeah,
that was just awesome.
Like I loved it because it's a kind of a callback to Return of the Jedi, where they knock out Vader's Star Destroyer.
Yeah,
and then it just crashes into the Death Star.
Yeah,
which is cool, but ships don't fall in space.
Right.
You know, I don't believe there's enough gravity from the Death Star to constantly just whoosh into the Death Star.
I don't know, man. That Death Star looked pretty big in this movie. It looked, I mean, when it came in from Lightspeed, it looked like another planet chilling off to the side. Like, oh, hey, that's a Death Star. And it's all like got his big eye, like, slowly gonna end. You know?
That's actually another one of those scenes I really loved in this movie, was when, like, they look to the horizon, it looks like the Death Star's coming up out of the clouds.
Yeah.
And, like, you're just like, damn.
Or what about, like, the first time when they destroyed Jeddah and the Death Star actually eclipses the sun?
Yeah.
That was, yeah.
It's really well done. So, I mean, there was a lot of, like, really great, and this is, like, the good news, bad news, in my opinion, of the movie. There's a lot of fantastic moments. Beautifully shot scenes, great battles. I feel where it falls a little flat is some of the characters weren't as well developed as they could have been, perhaps. And honestly, Jyn Erso was not a very relatable person. I wasn't like, go Jyn Erso a lot.
Right.
There was a lot of times where I'm like, I have no idea what she's thinking or feeling right now.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of that for me. So
he knew more about her dad and how he was feeling.
Yeah. Galen Erso was a much more like charismatic character than Jyn Erso was. I felt like.
Imagine.
Well, I think the minor characters got enough development to be minor characters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And as we know, because spoilers, they don't survive to the end of the movie, so they don't really need a lot of extra development. You know, like the Imperial pilot, Bodhi Rook or whatever his name was. Mm-hmm. I thought he had just the perfect amount of character development to be who he was.
The problem isn't so much that, like, their characters and the development they got didn't serve the purpose of being these secondary sort of background characters. That my problem was that, like, I didn't care as much as I feel like I should have when they all died. Like, that was my like, if you really want that to, like, tear at your heartstrings and be like, oh shit, they're dying. Like, you know, because it's something that I called from nearly the beginning. Like, none of these people are making it out.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been saying that for 6 months.
Yeah, but
yeah, well, I've been saying it for a year.
But when I watch the movie and they make me invest in that character, and I go, oh, I really don't want them to die, or I go, maybe they won't kill him, and then they do. It's much better, But I didn't get that from like pretty much anybody for the most part.
Well, I felt, to a point, I agree with you on that, but like, I think they did a good job of letting you know that these people aren't supposed to make it out. Like,
oh yeah,
when they're going into like. There was no illusions. Like, I would have been mad if they did make it out.
Yeah, well,
yeah. Well, and like I said, they get attached to some of the characters, I think, right? Alan Tudyk's droid.
Yeah, dude.
K2SO.
Love K2SO.
I'm just gonna say this. This is the second time Alan Tudyk's played a pilot that's been killed. So.
Well, I want to say that like of all the deaths, his was like the most horrific to me.
Like, everyone kind of was like, oh,
yeah, because you're just watching him fucking like do his job and get shot up, and you're like, I know it doesn't feel that, but I feel that.
Right.
Yeah.
You just like taking hit after hit after hit, just still like.
Yeah.
But they did a good job of showing him like reacting to hits. Plus, stormtroopers can actually hit shit. That was one target in the middle of the room that they were fucking hitting. So. They've been working on their aim since Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens happens 50 years later, bro.
Oh, so they forget.
But it was.
The Stormtroopers are good at aiming or bad at aiming, depending on what the plot requires right now.
Right. Well, I like how they just stopped coming into the room. They just like opened the doors and there's like a ton of them just like bah, 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 bah. They're like, all right, we're not going in there anymore.
Because they're dying super fast.
Right.
Yeah. But that was like. That was my own, and it's a very small complaint because it's not one of these things where I didn't feel anything.
Right.
It's not like they completely failed to get me attached to the characters. It's just that they might have been able to do more. I feel like a lot of the reasons why it didn't is because there was a whole lot of time given to like scenes with like Mon Mothma and like the Rebel Alliance talking at each other.
Well, they've got to slow it down a little bit.
Well, I would have preferred they do that with more character development of the characters that were.
Of the characters that we should have cared about, right? As opposed to Mon Mothma, who's no one's gonna ever care about.
Yeah,
for any reason.
No,
ever.
She doesn't die. She shows up later, and it's a different lady. It's fine.
Right. They did a good job of making her as close as they could to.
Yeah. No, Mon Mothma. Well, it's the weird thing is this. They like Mon Mothma. We can get a different actress for Mon Mothma because she was not much in the movies.
She had a press briefing. That's it.
She wasn't really in the movies that much, but they felt the need to like get like CG out a number of other characters.
Yeah.
They CG'd out obviously Grand Moff Tarkin, who looked fucking weird to see. Like it was not.
Right. Yeah. I like how he got more airplay than most of the other characters.
Before we go to CG Tarkin.
Okay.
What are the 3 characters you cared the most about? Their deaths.
Their deaths, the 3 characters I cared the most about.
Easy, the droid, the blind guardian, and his buddy with the big.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah,
like because Cassian Andor and like Jyn, I'm like really not attached to you guys at all.
Yeah,
like they died, and I'm like, it's a big white flash, whatever. It wasn't that like.
Right, they didn't go out hard.
Yeah,
they vaporized.
But yeah, Though the actual death scene for the pilot was good.
Yes.
The actual, like, I was like, ooh, shit. Like, that one kind of got me because it was like, in his moment of triumph or whatever.
Yeah.
So, that one actually did get me, though. I did like Chirrut and Baze Malbus, too. Baze Malbus was one of these things where, like, okay, Chirrut's dead. He goes on a rampage. He's dead. Right. So, in reality, I would say Chirrut. Because also, the moment of victory.
Yes.
Though it was a little, you could tell it was coming.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they
Chirrut,
telegraphed it hard.
They telegraphed it. Thank you. Telegraphed it pretty hard. But Chirrut, the droid, and the pilot. I think those are the 3 that.
Yeah, I agree because I think like we didn't get a lot from the pilot.
No.
But he's one of those guys who was like overcoming adversity.
Yeah.
And right as he manages to do so and overcome adversity, it all ends for him.
Yeah.
Which I thought was like a pretty good death scene for him. Because that was like super appropriate for him.
It was one of these things where like you felt like you got to that turning point in the character where he cements himself as a character in your eyes, and then he's dead. And he's dead in in a way that's not telegraphed at all.
No.
Like a grenade just bounces in there and he's like, oh, boom, and then it's boom, and just like, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah.
Well, also, I mean, look at what he had to overcome. So he was an Imperial pilot who had to sneak out, nerves busted, gets to where he's supposed to go. He's completely harassed the whole time he's there. Doesn't know if he's going to live or die.
They break his brain.
Right, they break his brain.
They feed him to some giant alien monster that, like, makes him crazy, supposedly.
Like, seriously, it's like mind rape. It had tentacles.
It had tentacles.
And it was all like, and then, I mean, the Guardian kind of brought him back a little bit. Yeah. Making him remember who he was, his name and stuff like that, and brought up. So, like, like you said, he overcame so much just to be like, you knew it was going to happen, but okay, he's good. Yeah. I mean, I did like how, I can't think of the guy's name, but he's the big heavy weapons guy that was running with the blind guy.
Baze Malbus.
Okay, his whole time he's jokingly, the anti to the Force and everything else with the buddy, and then like at the end he's like, all right, this was good enough for him, it's good enough for me, let's do this. And I enjoyed it.
Well, there's a throwaway line where Chirrut says that, like, don't let Baze kid you. He used to be one of the best Guardians that we had here.
Oh, so he's kind of like...
with, like, the end of the Jedi and stuff like that, he, like, lost his faith.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so most people who, like, lost his faith. And so in that moment... I need to go
see it again. I missed so much.
In that moment, he regains his faith. Because Chirrut was able to, like, walk out there avoiding all the blaster bolts, even though everyone else got, like, smoked the minute they stepped away from the cover. They, like, took their head out.
Yeah, the one guy was like, I'm going, and just got dropped immediately.
It was like this whole Saving Private Ryan thing with this whole scene. Like, it harkened back to that. Like, the first time I saw that movie, I think I was, like, 13, and I saw it in theaters, and I had never seen anything like that. It, like, blew my mind. And then this, like, the war in this scene was very much similar to that in regards to, just... constant chaos and just people dropping left right. Even when as soon as they dropped people into there, they didn't even make it to the battle. They got wiped out before they even made it. It was just like D-Day.
This is precisely why I wish there would have been, like, if they're going to make a movie like this, like I wish there would have been more of like all these nameless sort of soldiers sign up to like go on the suicide mission. Man, give me more of them. Yeah. Make me go, fuck, all these dudes are dying. Yeah. That's what I want to feel. But, that's unfortunately that's not what we got. I think we could have done that.
We could have more with those dudes. Like the guys who show up with Cassian at the end or whatever. Like after Jen goes in and gives her speech about hope. And then they're like, nope, can't do it. Yeah. My mom was like, sorry girl, but
well, she gives her speech to the shitty rebel leaders. Yeah. And these are the offcasts who are like,
well, these are the
I've literally murdered people for you, asshole.
Right.
Yeah. Why can't
I? You want a more character development for them?
Yeah. Well, I don't think you need a whole lot of it per se, but if you think about it, like movies like Saving Private Ryan, for instance, you have a larger company of people, right?
Right. You have
and you care about like every single one of those dudes. When they die, you're like, shit. Holy crap!
Yeah, because it's the gruesome way, and It's like
I think if you just add
a slightly larger cast than Rogue One, but it's still basically the same thing. But they just had 10 people or 12 people instead.
Right, and if you just add like a few of those dudes, those key dudes, to it, because the problem isn't so much that they died and I didn't care. The problem was that they tried, they kind of half-heartedly tried with some of them.
Yeah, there was one or two of them that were there's one of them who was in charge of the division, seemed like. Right, whatever.
And there's a scene where Chirrut looks back, what do we do? Because it's just him and Baze. Yeah. And he looks back and that guy's just slumped over dead. You don't actually see him die, but I want that stuff to be more impactful. Yeah. And I feel like the movie was pretty good, but since it took a lot of time trying to build up this Jyn Erso, who ultimately I still didn't care about that much. You lost some, and I don't know if it was because it wasn't written very well. I'm not sure what it was.
Jyn Erso's only real thing was because in the scene in the previews, the trailers, set up Jyn Erso to be like this. You're a criminal convicted of all this, blah, blah, blah. We don't see any of that.
Right.
That's true.
We're just told that that's how she is.
That's true.
And that was a big problem with a lot of the prequels. They didn't show us things. They just told us to believe these things.
Give me a little bit of history on her like
right.
that. Let
and
me
so
see
I
her
think
do
what
those
we could have
things.
done with less scenes about her, like the whole scene in the beginning. I liked it, especially with like Krennic like walking across the field or whatever in the damp zone.
Yeah.
with
The damp zone.
It's like he's just like white cape and all like flowing back white cape and like the five.
They were
black
just
troopers
super
just
good
behind
moisture
him.
farmers.
Yeah. Well, he was an engineer that built
Shit
the
out
Death
that
Star.
moisture.
He was like leading the
Yeah.
He was leading the market
Yeah.
on water on that planet. You know, he's like, this is
Everything
nothing.
just looked wet.
He's like, I put this
time.
together when I was drunk. So, yeah. But I thought that too. Like when it first walk, you see Mads Mikkelsen walking through like the actual garden area of the sand and everything, and I like the way it was like. Did they have like black sands or something like that?
Yeah,
like
black
it
rocks
was,
and stuff.
yeah, and then it was just this like black and then vegetation, but it was like just like it was like the meeting point. But yeah, I was like, man, they must really like, what is that, silk? I mean, you know, what's going? And then I'm like, well, he's really wet.
Yeah,
then it dawned on me that like
everything around there is wet, right?
He's like in the middle of the rain or whatever. So
yeah. So, but I think we could have done without that scene entirely. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too.
But I think we could have done without that scene entirely. Start us off with Saw Gerrera
like finding the kid
and her already like teenage her.
Oh, okay. A
Right?
little like
I don't
80s
need,
training
we don't need to see
montage.
little her escape from the Empire and get saved by Saw Gerrera. We realize that we have to establish that Saw Gerrera is in her life, and that's what we've done here.
I would have loved to see the scene where he abandons her.
Right, that's what I'm talking
That
about.
would have been fantastic.
Let's start off with an action scene. Kick it off with an action scene. Her, like teenage her, and Saw Gerrera in a scene or whatever. Like, and Saw Gerrera's like, the people are like, look, somebody heard something about Jen Ursa or whatever. Like her dad works for the Empire. We can use that as a tactic or whatever. We'll take her hostage and get him to give us something or whatever in exchange for that. We'll blackmail Galen Ursa with it or whatever, because he's part of the Empire. And him going like, okay, we'll send him on this mission first or whatever, and then he abandons her there on that mission. You establish Saw Gerrera's in her life, so later on you can come back to it. That she's the end to get into Saw Gerrera and his things. B, you give a lot more background on Saw Gerrera, who's actually quite a fascinating character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
who we don't know a lot about in reality.
We will never know anything.
You know, well, watch Clone Wars, because he's in Clone Wars too.
I saw all Clone Wars. I don't remember. I'll have to go back and rewatch it then.
Maybe it's Rebels he's in. I know he's in
I think
one
he's
of
in
the
Rebels.
two.
Okay, because I haven't seen any
He's
of
in
the
one
Rebels
of the
yet.
two things because, but we have a better scene then to establish why Jen Urso is the way she is. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because she hates the Empire because the Empire killed her mom. Blah blah. We see that.
Yeah, but that's stuff you get over
We
as you
don't.
fight
We don't
to
get
survive.
we don't get all of her like rebelliousness that she supposedly has. We're
Yeah.
told that she has it, but we don't see it.
We don't see it.
And so I'd like a scene like that where we see it happen.
yeah.
You know, and we see that Saw Gerrera has to like lock her up in a thing or whatever and abandon her there so that knowing that she'll be saved by somebody else or whatever and get to lead a normal-ish life but be out of the danger of his other people or whatever.
Because like the best scenes with her is when she does have all this like emotion going on where she's like, you know, I don't know where Saw Gerrera is. Why would I know that? Or she's like,
Right.
You abandoned me. You know, these are like the best scenes with her, but I have no background for it. I don't get to see it. I don't really get to experience it.
Yeah.
She did do a really
Let me
good
call
job.
Gareth up. We'll get in the director's cut.
Like I wonder if that was like actually what you're describing could not have gone unthought about at the writing of that. Like I wonder if it was like scrapped because they wanted to do more Mads Mikkelsen in the beginning versus like.
Well, I mean, they need to establish her father, but I think you could.
Yeah,
I think you could
that could
establish
be
her
a
father later
flashback.
as a reveal,
Right.
as like a big reveal,
Or a
would be even
dream.
better.
It could be a dream sequence when she's sleeping, and all of a sudden, like that scene happens when she's asleep, without like all the detail, but like it shows him meeting the guy and stuff like that. Like,
I don't even think we necessarily need that scene, right?
I
But they
think
just
it's
reveal
cool.
later on that like her dad, who she thought got kidnapped or whatever, is actually working for the Empire and is still alive. She thinks they're both dead, you know, because they come in, because my mama comes in and like, we think your father's working for the Empire. She's like, my parents are dead.
yeah.
They're dead. They died a long time ago when Saw Gerrera saved me and I was raised by him. You know? And they're like, no, your dad's still alive working for the Empire. Here we have picture. We have video. It's your dad.
Is that what happens?
Working for the Empire.
Because I thought.
No, it's not what happens.
Oh, okay.
But I'm saying we could have done that.
Oh,
if we
yeah.
went with the opening I suggested, You could have done that, and then it's like, boom, big reveal. Your dad's still alive. He's working for the Empire.
I think the reason why they probably didn't go that route was, and give us more of Saw Gerrera, was because there was a specific point at the end of the movie where she is able to find the right whatever. Like her dad and her issues with her dad is like sort of the running theme for her. It just isn't ever cemented very well. And I think it would have been cemented if they take a slightly different turn and went with like Saw Gerrera being this like person who like in reality is the one who raised her.
Yeah.
You know, and that like that betrayal being a much more difficult thing. But at the end where like she's searching through the archives and like...
Right, because they have to have the Stardust code word.
Yeah. Do you think that they'll do that in Rebels? That maybe they'll show some of the training for that, like towards the end of when they decide to end that?
I don't know.
As it leads closer to Rogue... Because, I mean, ultimately Rebels leads up to Rogue One, right?
I don't know for sure.
Well,
I'm assuming because it's got Saul.
Yeah, it has... Well, the ship in Rebels, the one that they use, I can't remember the name of it now. Like, I don't know, the General. I don't know what it's called.
Right.
But something like that. The ship in that animation actually shows up at the Battle of Scarif.
Oh, okay.
You know, in Rogue One. So, they are connected. It is, like, legit, part of the canon. But
well, that's one of the things that I liked about Rogue One also, is that they did tie everything together with Rogue One.
Including the prequels.
Yes, including the prequels. Because Bail Organa shows up.
Yeah.
Jimmy Smits appears a couple of times as Bail Organa. You know?
Who apparently, people from, help me, the planet that gets brought up, Alderaan, live a very long time, and they don't really age at all.
He didn't look a lot older, but...
He didn't look older at all. Like, he barely looked older. Meanwhile, like, Obi-Wan Kenobi, hours later, is fucking old as shit.
This is true.
So... Which is fine. I have no problem with that. They're aliens. I just I just wanted to make note that apparently people from Alderaan age very slowly.
You know what though? One thing this movie did make me want to do though, it made me want to go back and play like Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO. Like for some reason, like I could watch the new Star Wars movie that came out last year and it was good, but it didn't like it didn't give me that like I want to go back and play it. But for some reason, this one was like, I kind of really want to go back and play that now. But...
It made me want to go play Battlefront. I'm like, lasers, shoot some more,
Battlefront is awesome. Yeah. Of course, in that one, since that was considered canon, I guess, because they showed the battle, like the remnants of the Battle of Jakku or whatever, in the first one. But you saw, Darth Vader enters the field. Now, again, it's Darth Vader didn't actually go down to the field and like all those fight, but like, hey, they do a good job of making Vader be. I don't know. He always was, like you said earlier, he's rigid and stiff, and then in this one, he just like the fear of God gets put into you by Vader.
Well, they did a really good job of making Vader still rigid and stiff, but showing that the power that he had from like instead of being like just awkward, which is what you got, initially from the original movies. Right. Instead of being like awkward, he's a force of nature. He's hulking, and he might be like rigid and stiff, but that doesn't matter.
You kind of got the same feeling, at least I did, with Saul, because like he's got 2 robot feet, he's got the whole breathing apparatus thing going on. Like, when I first saw him, I was like, that's like prototype 1 Vader right there. I mean, just the way he looks and the way he was like moving around, I was like, that's kind of. I mean, that must be the thing.
That was a weird scene actually, where like, I believe he's the pilot. He's talking to the pilot.
Yeah.
And like
when he breathes, it sounds like Vader. Yeah.
That they're playing is like super intense, and it's like bum bum. And he like pulls the mask up, bum, and he takes a breath, bum, and he lets it go back down, just like automatically like retracts and bum. And I'm like, why are we got music for him breathing? It's not really.
But it was cool though.
He saw fucking Gerrera, bro.
Yeah.
Now I want to go back and watch Rebels just so that I can get some back on him because. He seemed like he was,
He's a rebel. He was part of the Rebel Alliance, but they were like, "You're too much of a terrorist, bro."
Yeah.
And these are the people who blew up the Death Star.
Yeah.
They're like, "Saul, you're too much of a terrorist, bro. You're too extreme." And he's like, "It doesn't matter how people fucking die.
Well,
stop the Empire."
I mean, they were like, "You're too much of a terrorist," and then like Alderaan becomes Stardust, and they're like,
"Right."
Okay, well, you know what? Maybe
Saul was right.
Maybe he had something going there. Perhaps.
Maybe Saul's got a point.
Perhaps we should just adopt this.
Yeah.
Oh, and my favorite part of Rogue One is that they tie up that bullshit argument about the Death Star. And
Yes.
They tie that shit up nice and tight with a little bow. I'm like, fuck you. This is the reason why this weakness is here. This is the reason why we have a shaft that goes all the way to our core. This is the reason why it exists.
This is the reason why, right?
Yep. Because it was built in on purpose, fuckers. That's why.
Yeah.
That was actually one of my favorite parts about it. They just tie that up nice and neat.
Mm-hmm.
It's very small, and you have to be precise to hit it, but it's disguised as a fuse.
Yeah.
And I liked how, Mads Mikkelsen's character, he built, he didn't just try to run. He was like, you know what? This thing's going to get built. I'm going to build it, because if I don't, they'll just build it anyway. So I'm going to build in that weakness. And I really like that whole, sacrificing you for the greater good of
not just you. You're not just, he's not just giving up his own life.
Yeah.
And his own, conscience, but also, his daughter's entire, childhood is all screwed up now. I mean,
he has to know,
I mean,
people are gonna die by the thing that he's created. He knows it's a weapon. It knows that it's gonna be used. People are gonna die. Hopefully, they can stop it before. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very interesting, far-reaching sort of thought process that I enjoyed out of that. So
yeah.
And going back to this and Saw Gerrera and stuff like that, I think the opening scene just could have been something with her being spirited away, and then more like a conversation between Saw Gerrera and Jyn Erso. Not Jyn Erso, but her dad, Galen Erso.
Yeah.
And that way you're establishing him, and you're establishing Saw Gerrera, and then you fast forward a little bit to Saw Gerrera raising Jyn. And I think that would
I could see that where instead of him setting up a hiding spot and letting Saw know to come find her there at some point or whatever, he just he sees that the Empire's coming or whatever, and so he gives her to Saw Gerrera to take care of.
Yeah.
Take charge of my daughter or whatever, so she doesn't have to come with me and live under the Empire. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Hello, my child. I was like, have you heard of Scientology?
I thought he was I thought he hammed it up, but it was so perfect, I think, for that character or whatever, because he was a crazy over the top character.
And the voice, his struggle for air and his struggle for breath, when I first saw the previews and I heard him, I thought, wow, Forrest Whitaker just can't talk anymore. Maybe that's just his voice, but it dawned on me that he's this is for the character, and I don't know. I think Forrest Whitaker, he was only there for a short time, but he killed it.
Yeah,
that character. He did a good job.
Who's Forrest Whitaker? All I saw was Ghost Dog.
Oh yeah.
Well, but
Way of the Samurai.
The thing about Forrest Whitaker is that normally he takes me out of a movie.
Yeah.
Because of his lazy eye and everything, I'm like, oh, that's Forrest Whitaker every time I see him. But here, didn't even notice it.
Yeah. Yeah, he is Saw Gerrera. That's for certain. Yeah. He did a really good job.
Yeah, he nailed it.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. That was weird. Did you see that? Did you recognize that when it happened?
The music, whatever. I didn't even recognize the music.
Dude, it was so weird. It was super intense when he's taking a breath.
Well, the first time he took a breath, it kind of had a Vader sound to it, and I was just like, ooh, it's kind of creepy. Just because, I don't know. It was such a good movie. I really enjoyed it.
It was really good. And I would also probably put it pretty close to where you have it as well in reality.
Towards the middle of the pack?
A little bit.
I thought you liked this movie, bro.
A little bit. Well, you just said it was my third or fourth most favorite. I'm third or... you're saying it's such an honor for it to be there. I'm it's middling.
It's a very limited set, okay?
Well, we got about 10 minutes left.
All right.
Did you want to kind of discuss the... you saw, steering away from Star Wars and going into more of a virtual reality type space in regards to the HTC
I haven't really got to use it, and maybe we can do some kind of a review cast at some point when we do, but if you get a chance, check out obviously virtual reality and the different peripherals that are coming for virtual reality, Oculus, the Vive, stuff like that.
For what?
Huh?
What'd you say?
What part?
The different what that are coming for?
Peripherals.
Peripherals?
Peripherals? Peripherals.
Peripherals works.
You tell me how to say it, and then I'll say it wrong every time on purpose.
I know you will.
But the peripherals, the things
Right.
that are the stuff and things that are coming out for virtual reality. It's obviously like still in its infancy, but it's here now for the most part.
Yeah.
One of the more interesting programs that I saw that's for free on Steam is called Big Screen, and it allows you to. This is gonna sound silly, but you can set up your own screen within the VR headset, so you're like you're sitting and watching like a big screen, like a movie screen or something like that, which is kind of neat. But the really cool thing is that you can connect with other people, and so you can like sit down and have like a movie night with buddies, you know, all over the place.
Right.
You can watch a movie that way. You can play games that way. You can have your own like online LAN parties. It's actually very, very cool. I really like the social aspect of that program and that it's capitalizing on that social aspect that VR could offer. That's really neat. So I'm really excited to see that. Obviously, I haven't got to try it out yet, but if I do, you know, we'll talk about it more.
I only have one other thing to add. I saw an interesting article today from Charlotte, South Carolina. I kind of linked it to you. I don't know if you got a chance to read it or not.
I did not get a chance to see it.
Apparently, South Carolina is trying to make it so that it blocks porn on the new. Have you seen?
I have, but did you read the whole article? Because
you can unblock it with a fee or something like that.
Well, yeah, that's the important part of this. Because
Yeah.
like the clickbaity headline is South Carolina trying to like make it so you can't look at porn if you buy a
Right.
computer from them. But if you read closely,
I didn't get a chance to read the actual.
it's all it is it's taxing. It's a revenue like thing that they're doing.
Right.
And what it is you can unblock yourself so you can watch porn, because they're not trying to like make porn illegal per se, but they're trying to get money off of it.
No.
You can unblock it. But my favorite part is where most of that money goes. If you pay the $20 or whatever to unblock your computer so you can watch porn in South Carolina, it goes to the Association Against Human Trafficking. It basically goes to some association that specializes in like stopping human trafficking.
Oh. Okay.
Which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
I think this is a very weird thing. Like it's not the clickbaity, like they're trying to what is that?
Block porn.
Block porn. Yeah, they're not trying to make it illegal. But it's not that simple, but at the same time it's just a really weird thing. I don't think it's quite that black and white. There's an interesting study that I read specifically about this, about human trafficking and how like things like porn actually are like a driving factor for things like human trafficking to exist.
Right.
Oh, really?
Like, that's what
It's
I'm
a
talking about.
big
Like,
deal.
Like it seems like you're both adding to and trying to take away from the problem at the same
It's
time.
super strange, right?
Right.
It's the weirdest thing. It's the
Yeah.
weirdest thing. Like you can spend $20, we get some of that money, the rest of it goes to this human trafficking thing, but now you can watch your porn, which helps to promote human trafficking.
Right.
It's just weird. It's just a weird thing.
Well, it's sort of like the like they've started programs in Africa, right? Like because there's a lot of problems like poaching elephants and rhinos and stuff like that. And so what they do is they sell license to go kill a black rhino or whatever, and they sell it all that money to rich white Americans or Europeans to come and feel like they're super important because we hunted a giant rhino or whatever, you know, and then they use all that money to hire rangers and stuff like that to stop other people from hunting. So so like all that like everyone here is all like, oh my god, I can't believe that guy went sport hunting to kill a lion or whatever.
Yeah.
That actually helps save the life of many, many, many other lions.
It just happened.
Or
to be-
many other black rhinos.
It's kind of surprising in the way that it kind of can work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because like it's almost like, think of it this way. You know, someone says like, okay, you can't buy lighters. You just can't buy them. Or no, I shouldn't say that. We don't like. You have to have a special license to get a lighter. But if you spend the money to get that license, it goes to like anti-smoking ads and shit like that.
Cancer
Like,
research or something.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so it's an interesting way of making people who indirectly support those things actually give money to the cause of defeating some of those things that bad thing contributes to.
Right.
It's actually somewhat ingenious in reality, but it works. So, or could work theoretically.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's gonna do it.
Yeah.
So
also, if you don't know Block Your Computer, South Carolina for porn, you're just supporting human trafficking now.
Right. Means you're a shitty person.
Can I just give them $20? Do I have to unblock the porn? Yes, you do.
Oh, and on that note, we are done. I hope you enjoyed that episode of the RSG Podcast. That was episode 91, where we talk Star Wars Rogue One. If you liked it, don't forget to hit a like and subscribe. Various areas where you would see us, your Stitcher, your iTunes, your YouTubes, your BlackBerry, stuff like that. Actually, we're not on the BlackBerry Marketplace yet, but we're working on that. It should be on there here soon, at least before the first of the year. So, all right, thanks for coming out. Hope you guys had a good night. Enjoy yourselves.